Section 7.1. I already gave you the notes. It's exactly the same thing on the notes. So already we know the reciprocal for the sine is 1 over cosecant. For the cosine is 1 over secant. Tangent is 1 over cotangent. The same thing, we're going to do the opposite here. Now, if you need to find the cotangent, it's going to be 1 over tangent. If you need to find the secant, it's going to be 1 over cosine. If you need to find the cosecant, it's going to be 1 over sine. So you already have these rules. Here's the these important rules. Every time when you have sine square plus cosine square, it's going to be equal 1. In this case, that's mean if you need to find the cosine square from sine, if you need to find sine square x, I'm going to keep sine square x here. I'm going to move the cosine to the other side. So it's going to be 1 over minus cosine square x. See what I did? I need to find the sine. I'm going to move the cosine to the other side. So the cosine is positive, is going to be 1 minus, is going to be minus. So this is another rule, but I took it from this one. This is a golden rule. Always you're going to use that. What about if you need to find the cosine?
1 minus sine squared.
That means I'm going to move the sine to the other side. So it's going to be 1 minus sine square x. Okay? So you just have to know this rule. Secant square x minus tangent square x equal 1. So in this case, if you need to find the secant, if I need to find secant square x, so I'm going to keep this one, move the tangent to the other side. It's negative. So it's going to be 1 plus tangent square x. Okay? So again, this is our rule. If I need to find the tangent, it's negative. That means I need to move the tangent here to become a positive and move the 1 here. That means tangent square x is going to be secant square x minus 1. So you just have to know this rule. You don't have to know these rules because move this one is going to be positive, move the 1 here, it's going to be negative, it's going to be secant square minus 1. Okay, so again, this is the second important rule. The third one is exactly the same thing, but now we have secant square x minus cotangent square x is going to be equal 1. That means if I need to find the cosecant square x is going to be 1 plus cotangent square x. If I need to find the cotangent, you're going to move this one to the right side, move the 1 to the left side. That means cotangent square x will be cosecant square x minus 1. Okay? And we're just going to focus on these 3 rules. For the negative angle, these are really important. For the negative angle, if you have sine negative angle, it's going to be negative sine x. Cosine negative angle is going to be positive cosine x. Tangent negative is going to be negative tangent x. Cotangent also negative. Cosecant is going to be negative cosecant. Secant negative angle is going to be, so that's mean only the cosine negative angle is going to be cosine positive angle, okay? And the next one, which one? The secant. So you just have to know, okay, I'm going to keep in my mind, for all negative angles, only the cosine, the result is going to be positive, and the secant, the result is going to be positive. The rest is going to be all negatives, okay? Here's another rules. If we have sine, pi over 2 minus x is going to be cosine. If you have cosine, pi over 2 minus x is going to be sine x. You see, it's a different, be careful. For the sine became cosine, for the cosine, sine. Tangent, cotangent. Cotangent is going to be tangent. Secant, cosecant. Cosecant, secant. Okay, so these are rules. We're going to use it to simplify. Okay. Now let's check here. I'm not going to do anything with the cosine. Can I change 1 plus tangent square x to what? I'll go back to the rules. See here what it says? 1 plus tangent square x. Is that the same thing here? So can I take everything here and just write down secant? That's mean what I'm going to do here. I'm going to say this one is equal. Here is the cosine x. Everything here is what? Secant square x. Okay, now let's go back to the secant. Secant is equal what? 1 over cosine, but be careful. It's a secant square. So you're gonna say, okay, this is cosine x times secant is 1 over cosine square x. How many cosines do you have here? 2. Can I cancel one of these cosines with this one? So cancel this one with one of the cosine. So what's the left? 1 over cosine x. How much 1 over cosine x? 1 over cosine x is what? Secant. So this one equal secant x. So you see, we simplify this part here. It's only secant x. I'm using all the rules on the board. So you have to practice how you're going to use the rule to simplify. Can we do the same thing with this one? I need to simplify this part. Let's see. Cotangent. Cotangent and secant. Now I already know the secant is what? The secant is what? All the rules on the board. You just have to know how to do connection. Secant is 1 over cosine. So okay, I'm gonna write down the secant 1 over cosine x. Application. Now let's see. Cotangent. If I use cotangent as 1 over tangent, is gonna help for me to simplify? Yes or no? No, because I'm not gonna do anything if I write down 1 over tangent. It's not gonna happen for me. I'm not gonna cancel anything. But can I use the tangent equal what? Sine over cosine? The tangent equals sine over cosine. So I'm gonna say, okay. If I say cotangent is what? Cosine over sine. Cotangent is cosine x over sine x. Now, can I cancel? Which is this one, cancel with this one. So the left is 1 over sine x, which is equal what? 1 over sine equal cosecant x. That's it. Who's gonna tell me the first step, even if it's wrong? Okay, don't scare.
Simplify the.
Okay, I'm gonna simplify the top part. Secant square x. I'm not gonna worry about the negative one, okay? Now tell me, because there is more than way to solve it. There's more than way. Now, if I want to solve it, I'm gonna say, okay, I can simplify the secant, or secant square x minus 1 equal what?
The next one.
And just square. So okay, like the top part, because there is a rule that said secant square x minus 1 equal tangent square x. So I'm gonna write down on top this one equal tangent square x over sine square x. See? Now, again, there is more than one way to solve it, okay? So it's fine. You're gonna get the same result. Now, what's the next step? And can I simplify it more? Which one you're gonna look to, you can simplify it? You wanna use the sine or the tangent?
Fine.
How are you gonna simplify it? So now you have two terms on the top and on the bottom, okay? So I'm not gonna use this rule anymore. I'm gonna look here. Which one I can use to simplify it more?
The tangent.
Okay, the tangent equal what? Sine over cosine. So I say, okay, so let's go back here. That means this one equal tangent, here is sine square x. Tangent equal what?
Fine.
Sine square x over cosine square x. Yes or no? Now I'm gonna write down this and take the reciprocal for the bottom part. Yes or no? That means this is over 1. So this one is going to be equal. Sine square x over cosine square x times what? 1 over sine square x. Now, can I cancel this one with this one? What's the left? The left is what? 1 over cosine square x. So 1 over cosine equal what? 1 over cosine equal what?
Secant squared x.
Secant square, because we have square. So the result is going to be secant square x. So we simplify this one to only secant square. Is there another way to solve it? Yes or no? But be careful, we have square. So on the top part, cosine pi over 2 minus x equal what? Equal what?
Sine square x.
Sine x squared, so it's going to be equal. This one equal sine square x over cosine x. Now, what's the next step?
That would be equal to tangent x.
But be careful, it's a square. That's good to try.
So wouldn't it be tangent x times sine x?
Times different. So check what he did. He said, okay, I have squared here, and there's cosine here by itself. So this one is equal. Can I say it's sine x times sine x? Yes or no? Here's the cosine. I'm gonna keep the cosine here. Okay? Or sine times sine is sine squared. But I'm gonna take one sine over cosine equal what?
Tan.
Tan. So this one is tangent. That means it's tangent x and I keep sine x. That's it. You got it? So this is a good thing. When you have squared and just one term on the bottom, you can say, okay, it's a sine times sine. When you look to this type of examples, tangent, cotangent, secant, okay? Do I have to use one of these rules? No, so I'm not gonna look to this part. I'm just gonna look here. I have tangent x, that's mean. Tangent x, I can use this part, and tangent, I can use this one. Okay, so I have two options. Cotangent, I can use which one? Can use this one.
I think to solve it.
Go ahead. The tangent is what? is that 1 over cotangent x? And here is cotangent x. And here is secant x. So I'm gonna cancel these. Going to be 1 over secant x, which is equal. So you have more than one way to solve it. He said, okay, I'm gonna use sine over cosine, cosine over sine. Cancel everything is going to be 1 over secant, which is equal cosine. Both is going to be here. Wait a minute, you can't cancel out.
Like tangent minus tangent is 0.
No, because it's multiplication here. But what are you gonna do? If I have a common between two terms, what I can do? Can I take the common out? Yes, remember the greatest common factor? The same thing. If you have 2x plus 4, can I take the 2 as a common? 2x plus 2. Yes or no? We're gonna do the same thing here. I have common here with the tangent. So I can say, okay, here is the tangent, square x. What's the left? On this side is 1. Here is the minus. I took the tangent. What's the left here? Sine square x. Yes or no? Now, what's the next step? What's the next step?
Or the 1 minus sine squared to
I'm gonna look here. 1 minus sine square is what?
cosine squared.
You see over there, what it says? Sine, cosine square is 1 minus sine square. Is that the same thing between the parentheses? So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna say, okay, here's the tangent. Tangent square x times, this is cosine square x. Now what's the next step? Can I simplify it more? Look to the board. Can I simplify it more? Tangent equal what? Equal what?
X over cosine.
Okay, so I'm gonna say, okay, sine square x over cosine square x times cosine square x. Can I cancel these? What's the left?
And square x.
Sine square x. That's it. So sine square x is a common between this part and this one. That means this one equal, I'm gonna take sine square x, go to the left. Secant square x minus 1. Now, what's the next step? Then look to the parentheses. Secant square x minus 1
Tan x squared.
equal what?
Tan squared x.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this is sine square x, and this one is tangent square x. Yes or no? Okay, what's the next step?
You can do tan x,
The tangent equal what?
sine x over cosine.
Okay, so here is, this is sine square x. This one is sine
Square x over cosine.
over cosine. Is that we can simplify it? Can we simplify it now? Yes or no? What are we gonna do? Tangent square x. We can't. I think that's it. Can you simplify it? Because you can't, okay, if you multiply these, you can say, okay, it's a sine to the power 4 to the x over cosine square x. That's it, because you can't simplify it. Or you can keep it like here.
Also rewrite it as sine to the fourth x times secant squared x.
Oh, yeah, you can do that.
Can it make sine squared x equal 1 minus cosine squared x over 1?
You're talking about the sine, this one,
Yes.
but it's not gonna change anything.
Cancels 1.
Cancel what?
The
No.
cosines.
Because 1 over, you can say this one as well. Like 1 minus, that's what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, and then over one.
but what? Wait. That's what you meant?
Yeah.
But you can't cancel because this is 1 minus.
Oh,
This is 1 minus and here's multiplication. Can you cancel? You're doing like this. X, or would I say 1 minus x? 1 over x. You do it like this.
oh,
Can you cancel the x with the x? No, you can't, because here's multiplication. You can distribute 1 over x here. You can do the same thing here. You can distribute here, because it's gonna still the same thing. You're not gonna simplify it anymore. So I think you can keep it like this. If you get like this one on Cooper sign. So work on this one, number 8. Say 2 tangent negative x cosine x. How are we gonna solve this one? You see, check the angle for the tangent is what? The angle for the tangent is what? Negative. That's mean I'm gonna go to the negative angles. So it says tangent negative x equal what? Equal what? Negative tangent x. So I'm gonna say, okay. I was thinking it's gonna be easier. If I say, okay, this is 2. And this one is negative tangent to the x. Yes or no?
yes.
Cosine x. 2 times negative 2 tangent x cosine x. How can I simplify it?
Yes.
Which one are you gonna simplify?
The tangent x,
The tangent is what?
sine x over.
Okay, so this one equal negative 2 sine x over cosine x times cosine x. Cancel these, what's the left? That's it. What about next one? Let's take another example. How are we gonna solve this one? See, because there's a parentheses, as when it has multiplication, I'm going to distribute the cosine. That's me, it's going to be cosine x times secant x minus cosine times cosine square x. Which one you gonna? Cosine x. Secant, is that 1 over cosine x? Yes or no?
Yes.
Minus? Can I cancel these? What's the left? 1 minus cosine square x, which is equal
Sine square X.
times square x. We can say, okay, then distribute these two parentheses. 3 cosine x times 3 cosine x are going to be 9. Oh, sorry, cosecant. 9 cosecant x cosecant square x. 3 cosecant x times -3, -9 cosecant x. We're done from the second one. Now 3 times 3 cosecant x is going to be plus 9 cosecant x. Then 3 times -3 is -9. Check here the middle term. Can I cancel it? What's the left? The left is 9 cosecant square x minus 9. Can I take the 9 as a common? That means going to be 9. And here is going to be cosecant square x minus 1. Here's the 9. Cosecant square x minus 1 equal what? Cosecant square is going to be 1 plus cotangent. But cotangent equal cosecant minus 1. So this one is cotangent square x.